Welcome back to the Daily Threat, your trusted source for cybersecurity news and insights. We have some critical stories that highlight the ongoing challenges faced by businesses and individuals in the digital world. We'll dive deep into each story, discussing the attacks, how the attackers gained access, the potential risks for businesses, and, of course, best practices to mitigate these threats. But before we begin, let's thank our sponsor, MoveIT Solutions, for bringing you today's episode. Our first story today focuses on a critical vulnerability found in Fortinet's FortiGate SSL VPN devices. This flaw, known as a remote code execution (RCE) vulnerability, has the potential to wreak havoc on affected systems. The vulnerability allows attackers to execute arbitrary code on the targeted devices, enabling them to gain unauthorized access, steal sensitive data, or even disrupt critical operations. The vulnerability affects several versions of FortiGate SSL VPN devices, which are commonly used by organizations to provide secure remote access to their networks. Attackers exploit this flaw by sending maliciously crafted requests to vulnerable devices, allowing them to execute arbitrary commands with the privileges of the targeted device. To their credit, Fortinet promptly released a security update to address the issue. It is imperative that organizations using FortiGate SSL VPN devices apply the patch immediately to protect their systems and networks from potential exploitation. Failure to do so could lead to severe consequences, such as unauthorized access to internal resources, data breaches, and operational disruptions. Moving on to our next story, we turn our attention to Strava, a popular fitness tracking application. A recent discovery revealed that the application's heat map feature could be abused to identify individuals' home addresses. The heat map, which displays aggregated user activity data, inadvertently reveals patterns and routes regularly taken by users, potentially leading to the identification of their home locations. Attackers with malicious intent can exploit this feature to gather personal information about individuals, exposing them to various risks, including stalking, burglary, or targeted attacks. This underscores the importance of user privacy and the need for service providers to thoroughly assess the potential risks associated with the features they offer. In response to this issue, Strava has taken steps to address the privacy concerns, including implementing privacy zones that allow users to hide specific locations on their heat map. Individuals using fitness tracking applications should review their privacy settings, enable privacy zones, and carefully consider the information they share publicly. Lastly, we come to our final story, which revolves around MoveIT Transfer, a file transfer system widely used by organizations to securely exchange sensitive data. A recent security audit conducted on the platform identified critical vulnerabilities that, if left unpatched, could expose organizations to data breaches and unauthorized access. The identified flaws in MoveIT Transfer enable attackers to bypass authentication mechanisms, gain unauthorized access to files and data, and even execute arbitrary code on the affected systems. This opens the door for malicious actors to steal sensitive information, compromise business operations, or conduct further attacks within the organization's network. Organizations utilizing MoveIT Transfer must act swiftly to address these vulnerabilities. They should immediately update to the latest version of the software, which includes patches for the identified flaws. Additionally, organizations should consider implementing multi-factor authentication, regular security assessments, and employee training programs to enhance their overall security posture. Now that we've explored the details of each story, let's recap the risks these vulnerabilities and privacy concerns pose to businesses. With the FortiGate SSL VPN flaw, organizations failing to apply the patch are at high risk of unauthorized access to their networks, data breaches, and potential operational disruptions. The Strava heat map issue highlights the importance of user privacy and the potential for malicious actors to gather sensitive information, leading to personal harm or targeted attacks. Lastly, the MoveIT Transfer vulnerabilities pose significant risks to organizations, including unauthorized access to sensitive data, potential data breaches, and the compromise of critical systems. To mitigate these risks, businesses should adopt several best practices. These include regularly applying security patches and updates to all systems and software, implementing strong access controls and authentication mechanisms, conducting regular security audits and assessments to identify vulnerabilities, educating employees about cybersecurity best practices, such as avoiding suspicious links and practicing good password hygiene, using encryption and secure protocols for data transfer and storage, monitoring network traffic and employing intrusion detection and prevention systems, employing strong privacy controls and regularly reviewing the privacy settings of applications and services. By following these best practices, organizations can significantly enhance their security posture and mitigate the risks associated with these vulnerabilities. That wraps up today's episode of The Daily Threat. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and remember to subscribe to our channel for daily cybersecurity news and insights.